Welcome to another edition of Finish First. I'm Judge Dawson. In fact, these are my cycle breaker talks. These are short talks where I give you information that I hope will serve you on your journey of being the absolute best you can be. If you have not seen any of these videos, I'm Judge Dawson, the judge of the East Cleveland Municipal Court. I've been on the bench for several years, and I determined that, you know what, it's not enough just to be a judge. I need to do something to help you be the best that you can be, because this legal system can be brutal. But what I want to do is show you a different side of justice that not only shows correction, but also shows compassion. And that's why we do these videos. So, cycle breaker talks. If you've been in my courtroom before, you know I have this theory called being a cycle breaker. So, what does it mean to be a cycle breaker? There are 4 elements of being a cycle breaker. The first one is you have to recognize the need for change. You have to recognize that there is something in your life, something in your community, maybe that's been going on in your family that you know has to stop, or maybe you just know it can get better. So once you recognize that need for change, then you get about the business of making the change. That's what being a cycle breaker is all about. Not just recognizing the change, but then doing it. So what's the next step? Doing it. Committing to making the change. Committing to breaking the cycle. So with step 2, that's where you go beyond the talk, right? And you say, you know what? I know that I need to stop smoking, or I know I need to become a better father or a better mother. So now I'm going to take the next step and I'm going to commit to doing it, meaning there will be nothing that will take me away from achieving my goals. So the next level of being a cycle breaker is committing to breaking the cycle. And then the third step is you have to get the tools that are necessary to break the cycle. That means, look, we don't know it all. We don't have all the answers, but there may be a resource that can help you get to the next level. Maybe that resource is in the form of a book that you need to read. Maybe that resource is in the form of a mentor that you need to attach yourself to. Or maybe it's going back to school. Nobody wants to hear about going back to school, but it's true. In order to be the absolute best you can be, you have to figure out what tools do you need to go to the next level. That is part of being a cycle breaker. And then step number 4 is you have to have the grit to stay in there when the going gets tough. Because most time when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, right? So you want to stay in there. You want to say that I know it's getting hard. I know I'm being tempted, but I have dedicated my life to living in a certain direction. I have dedicated my existence to achieving certain goals. So I'm going to stay the course no matter how hard it gets. Those are the 4 elements of being a cycle breaker. So ask yourself right now, are you a cycle breaker? And I believe you are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today I want to read something to you. It's a paper that I find really interesting, and this applies to what we do in life, all right? It's a true story. It says, I'm sitting in a quiet room in a hotel, a peaceful little hotel, just minding my business, and it could be any hotel. It could be in your town or someone else's. Looking at the beautiful pine trees out the window, maybe looking at people going to and fro, maybe cars are going. But then while this is going on, the ear picks up a life and death struggle. A life and death struggle, right? So something is going wrong. Something is happening. The life and death struggle is that of a small fly. No humans involved, no one being beaten or things like that. It's a small fly. There's a small fly burning out the last of its short life, its energy, in an attempt to fly through the glass window pane. How many of you have been in a situation where you've noticed a little fly just trying really, really hard to fly through a window pane? We've seen it. It's happened millions of times, right? The whining and the flurry of the wings tell the story of the fly's strategy. The fly's strategy is try harder, Give it all you got. Don't give up. Keep going. We've all heard those strategies, right? We've all heard that in order to be the best you can be, you have to keep going. You have to never stop. You have to give it all you got. But sometimes we need to reevaluate that strategy. Let's get back to the story. The frenzied efforts offers no hope of survival. Ironically, the struggle is part of the trap, right? The struggle is part of the trap. It is impossible for the fly to try hard enough to succeed at breaking through the glass. Nevertheless, this little insect has stacked its entire life, its goal, on reaching its ability through raw effort and determination to make it through the window. So the strategy that the fly is employing is part of its trap, because that strategy, no matter how well thought out, is not enough to get the fly through the window. In your life, have you discovered that the strategy that you have for success, the strategy that you have for picking the right relationship, the strategy that you have for getting that great job that you've been trying to get, is it working against you, or is the strategy itself the trap? Getting back to the story. So by now we can tell the fly is doomed. It will die there on the windowsill. Here's the interesting part though. Across the room, 10 steps away, the door is wide open. 10 seconds of flying time, and this small little creature could reach the outside world that it seeks with only a fraction of the effort that is now being wasted. It could be free of this self-imposed trap. The breakthrough possibility is right there, and it would be so easy. So isn't it amazing that in this story we can see so clearly that sometimes the traps that we are experiencing in our lives, sometimes the breakthrough is right there, but we've set ourselves in this trap. Maybe the trap is this relationship that you won't walk away from, no matter how many red flags you see. Maybe the trap is the habit that you just can't break, even though you know you should, but it feels so good to you that you just won't stop. So your breakthrough is right around the corner, maybe just a few seconds away, but you're trapped in the strategy that you thought would bring you the most pleasure and would bring you to your desired result. All right, let's finish up. Why doesn't the fly just try another approach? Something dramatically different. How did the fly get so locked in on the idea that this particular route, this determined effort, would offer the most promise? Who told that fly to go in this direction? Who was his advisor or her advisor? What logic is there in continuing until death to seek a breakthrough with more of the same? What logic is there in continuing until you are dead, seeking a breakthrough by doing the same thing? Come on, you know that. No doubt this approach makes sense to the fly. Regrettably, it's an ideal that will kill the fly. For you and I, we have to know trying harder isn't necessarily the solution to achieving more. It may not offer any real promise of getting what you want out of life. Sometimes, in fact, it's part of the problem. If you stake all your hopes on a breakthrough, on trying harder and harder and harder, it may kill your chances for success. Now that story was originated by a Price Pritchett, but it's been redrafted, remixed by Judge Dawson, because it really entails and it has in it all the clues that are necessary for you and I to achieve the next level of success. We have to look at what we're doing right now, the strategy that we are employing, and we have to figure out, will this help me get to where I want to go, or have I been trapped by the strategy itself? Am I banging my head up against the wall like a fly trying to get out the window when we know the fly can never, on its best day, and no matter how much that fly prays to its God, there's no way it will break through that window pane, and that's just a fact of life. So now what that fly has to do is utilize some form of intelligence, maybe through someone advising them, maybe through being a cycle breaker and getting the tools to figure out what else can I do to get to my destination, because this isn't working for me. So for you and I, where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? What do you want to achieve? And right now, the strategy that you're using, is it working for you? Because if it's not, it's time to move on. All right, that's my quick cycle breaker talk for you today. I want you to be the absolute best you can be. I want you to know, first of all, that you can be a cycle breaker. It's all in making that decision. And once you're there, navigate, make adjustments. If the plan is not working for you, get another plan to work. All right, I'm Judge Dawson, and I'll talk to you soon.